Hi guys, in today's What the Health video I'm going to be talking about gluten and more specifically the gluten-free diet. So before I start, it's very important to say, most of you know, I'm not a dietitian, I'm not a nutritionist, I'm just a person who is incredibly interested in all of these things and who likes to do research and have discussions about these topics, and that's exactly what this video is meant to do. I obviously want to share my view on gluten-free and the gluten-free revolution, and then I really want to hear what you guys have to say as well. So as always, please do leave me comments just below. So over the past few years, the gluten-free product market has absolutely boomed. People are buying into it left, right and centre, and it's been something that's been quite apparent to me for a little while, especially considering the video I did a few weeks ago about fad diets and about how things that tend to make a lot of money very quickly in the food industry might not always be what they seem. So I'd always had these thoughts, and a few months ago I was watching a programme on TV. It was a programme about our diet and the sort of standards of our diet that we come to accept and whether they're myths or not. And one of the topics of discussion was about gluten-free, and there was a doctor on the programme and he was very, very firm in his stance that unless you have celiac disease, which is an autoimmune disease which means that you can't process gluten properly and that you should avoid gluten, by and large gluten is not a problem for most people. I think I read a statistic that it's only 1% of Americans, this was a statistic that I read, have celiac disease, so it's really not as big a thing as the gluten-free food market and the boom of it would probably have us believe. And what this doctor was saying was that actually a lot of the time people tend to think that gluten-free food is somehow going to be healthier for you if you don't have these gluten intolerances or sensitivities, because gluten sensitivity is another thing. It's not celiac disease, it's sort of non-gluten, non-celiac gluten sensitivity. Again, that's a different topic of discussion. I'd love to know what you guys hear about, what you guys think about that as well. But what this doctor was saying was basically a lot of the time when food is made gluten-free, a lot of what's taken out of it is replaced with things like fats, sugars, which are very high calorie and actually bump up the calorific value of the food without adding any nutrition. It's just pointless additives into the food to alter the taste and texture and take it back to the resemblance of what it was before the gluten was taken out. I found this so interesting and it really got me thinking. So personally, I've never bought into the gluten-free trend at all. I know that I have certain sensitivities to food, but I know that they are dairy, so I know that if I drank a glass of milk, I'd feel really ill. I know I know I've said to you guys before, I like cheese. I know if I have too much cheese, I'll feel ill. So I know that I have certain sensitivities that I deal with myself. Gluten, I've never even thought about. Like, I really am very, very sure that I do not have a gluten sensitivity. But what this doctor was saying really kind of struck a chord with me, and myself and my fiance Chyaz, we were kind of really thinking about this and thinking, wow, this is a really good point. And so we started to do a little bit more research, and it was quite interesting sort of what we found out. So one thing, for example, is that the price of gluten-free alternatives are on average like approximately 250% more expensive than their non-gluten-free counterparts, which is very surprising and also really makes you think about the whole industry of this boom of gluten-free and whether people are buying into it having no sensitivity to gluten but thinking that these products are somehow healthier. I'm not sure that it's the case. Again, I'd love to know what you guys think. It's a really interesting topic of conversation, and the question about does gluten-free make you fat? Okay, it's a stark statement and a stark question, but I guess sometimes if you were to look at particular foods and actually do an analysis of how many calories and how much fat, etc., how many sugars, etc., are in the gluten-free alternatives, it would be very interesting to see. This doctor on this programme very clearly thought that that was the case. I don't know, I mean, to be perfectly honest, very anecdotally, if I've been walking around a supermarket, I have personally noticed that some gluten-free alternatives are more calorific and have higher fat and sugar contents, etc., but that's just me walking around. In your experiences, I'd love to know what you found, and if in the future you'd like me to do a more in-depth video where I do literally compare products, then let me know, because that is something that would be really interesting. But for now, I want to open it up as a discussion. I think that's one of the best things about talking about things like health and fitness, is you get to have a good chat about it. So, does gluten-free make you fat? Over to you. Let me know what you think. I'd love to know what your thoughts are too. So, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.